I hope you're doing well. I want to talk about the stars and how simple it is. And the most simple proof, and something that you could, I encourage you to share this with a friend of yours and, just have a little discussion, because we're told these just fantastical stories about how we're traveling 500,000 miles an hour chasing the sun as we're rotating around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. So half the year we're going to be looking this way, and half the year we're going to be on the other side of the sun looking that way. But the stars that we see in the sky are the same exact stars that go in a complete full circle rotation every year, and it's been happening for all of recorded history. And the next year they come back around and we see the same zodiac signs, and it's the same thing forever. And it goes clockwise over this plane of Earth, and it's so simple. And it's just a wonderful thing. And it's what the Bible says, which is even more beautiful. And to have absolute proof right here, it's so basic. So this is the planisphere. This guy created this planisphere. Basically, you just set the clock, because the sky is a clock. And I'll show you this real quick, because this is just so cool. This is what Genesis says, Genesis 1:14. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons, for days and for years." So he's saying it's a clock. It's something to set your clock and discover the time for signs and seasons and for days and years. It's a clock. And he said, "Let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made two great lights, a greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, and a lesser light to rule the night, which is the moon, which it's a separate light, has its own distinct light. So it's not reflecting off of the sunlight. It's its own distinct separate light. So that's what the Bible says. And we go over and look at this planisphere. Again, you set the dial for whatever time of day and year. And this is latitude 30 degrees north. So in this general area, these are the stars that you're going to see in the sky. Here's Cancer and Gemini, and these are the stars you're going to see. And you just point it towards the north, and you hold it up, and it works. Fantastic. Done. Boom. So let me give you a little more history. I'm going to show you a couple videos, and I think you're going to love this, because there's a lot of other little details, but it's all so basic and so beautiful, and it just proves that we're not spinning and moving. And another thing to maybe look at, if you haven't seen it, is all of the proofs, like Airy's failure and the Michelson-Morley experiment, which was trying to test if you had two lights reflected, and you have two light beams, and one's going with the direction of the Earth and the other is going sideways from the direction of the Earth. They should have a difference when they come back. And it was this finely tuned machine, and they came back with a null, with a negative result, and they proved that the Earth didn't move. And every test that's ever been conducted, every high-level scientific test that's ever been conducted, all prove that the Earth is stationary, and that's a fact. Please look into it if you haven't seen this, because there is no science whatsoever. And Einstein literally came up with the theory of relativity because of the Michelson-Morley failed experiment, and he had to explain it away. And what he said was that the faster things go, the time slows down, and made time a variable, which is not, time is not a physical construct. So its time cannot be a variable in an equation. Basically, he pencil whipped the equation and you know, gets off the weeds into fantasy land, and everybody thinks, oh, he's so smart, we can't figure it out. It's because it's idiotic. It's because it's incorrect. So Einstein's incorrect, and there are hundreds or thousands of highly regarded scientists that have all come out and said that Einstein's incorrect. But you know, mainstream educational system is running with this because they got to patch up their theories and keep it going, and everybody just kind of moves along with it when it's completely, it's insanity, it's lunacy, it's idiotic. So you know, they talk about warping space-time, and then you get off the weeds and you start talking about parallel universes and all this nonsense because they're talking about the faster something goes, the time slows down. Then you're talking about time travel and all this. I mean, come on. It's literally craziness. Okay? It's time to call it what it is. So I'm going to show you a couple things, and you're going to love it. So stick with me here, okay? Okay, so this universal planisphere, this is the actual patent, United States patent, and the inventor is William Eisenhower, and this is the universal planisphere, complete guidance computer system. And here is some details. These are the zodiac stars, and on the outside this is the clock. This is just the actual physical thing, which is this. Okay, it's because it's two pieces. So this is the inside. This right here is a azimuthal equidistant map, the Gleason's map. And check this out. You want to see what he cited in his patent, and this works, right? So we know for a fact you can set the dial and go outside and look, and these are the stars you're going to see forever. This was like 100 years ago, and it works, and it would have worked 1,000 years ago, and it'll work 1,000 years from now. And all you do is you set the dial, and all these stars, you spin it around. And what did he use to create this? Let's see, patent citations. Number 1, the 1893 Alexander Gleason map. This is what he used. This is the Gleason's map. Okay, so this is what he used to create the planisphere using this, what we call a flat Earth map, azimuthal equidistant map. And people say, "Where's your map? Where's your map? What does your map work?" Well, it does. It does. It works in the sky. Works for travel. Okay, it does work. So check this out. All right, so let's examine this real quick. This is the Gleason's map. This is a if you haven't seen this before, most people have seen this, but I'm going to show this somebody that may have never seen this before. I just want to kind of recap as to what this map is and what it entails. So this Alexander Gleason created this map the late 1800s, and it's an accurate representation of a projection from the North Pole. So the center here would be the North Pole. It's interesting to note that all compasses point towards the north. If you're standing in the United States and you're pointing your compass, you have to hold it flat so that the dial will spin around. Anybody who's used a compass knows that, and that points towards the north, which is in the center, which is level, horizontal plane, flat in that direction, if that's north, right? If you're standing on the equator on a globe, check this out. If you're standing on the equator, the North Pole is like through the Earth. So you would be looking, you're pointing your compass at like a 45-degree angle into the Earth. So the compass wouldn't work because the compass has to be flat so the dial will spin freely. Everyone knows this. So that in itself points it out, which is cool. So this is the center. The sun travels in a clockwise manner, and it goes around this circuit every day, just what the Bible says, that the greater light and the lesser light travels in its circuit and comes back around next day. And the outer area, this white here, is the shoreline of Antarctica. The outer perimeter, you can see the numbers of the clock. I have a video you should check out called Tour of Flat Earth Park. I just put out in my video section in Sydney, Australia. The Freemasons built a park with a pond full of water. Has this exact map. There's an obelisk in the middle, and there is a building with a pyramid on top to represent the Freemasons, and a square on the inside on the wall to represent the Freemasons. And they have a clock inside the building of this, and you can set the dial exactly where the sun would be to shine its light. And there's a big dome which represents the firmament inside this building, and it has the zodiacs and it has the stars in the firmament. So these Freemasons, which again run the United Nations, which when I showed you the 33 symbolism in the United Nations logo. And interestingly enough, the Darling Park is on the 33rd degree latitude, which I would tend to think they built it there on purpose. And half a mile from there is the Grand Lodge of the Scottish Rite of the Freemasons, literally a half a mile. So these guys are all over it. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're the ones hiding this from us. So you have all these little details, but I don't want to get too far in the weeds. But back to this, the sun and the stars, and they slowly rotate around this in a circle every day and every year, like a clock. And down here shows the winter solstice and the summer solstice, and this is kind of the way the light shines, because there's a firmament, there's some kind of a dome or some kind of a structure that contains the air. So we have a pressurized air system, because otherwise the air would just fly off into the vacuum of space. That's basic natural law. You have to have a container. Gravity is just silly to think that it's going to hold the air to the earth against an absolute vacuum. It's just the goofiest thing ever. We just never think about it. You say, oh, gravity, hold it down, right? It's just stupid. So back to this. This is our clock. Sun goes around in a circle. This is what they use to make the planisphere. You set the dial on the planisphere, and these are the stars that you can see, because if you're standing in California and you're anywhere near the 30 degree latitude, which is kind of would be visible, you can look, and that would be your field of view. So let's say it's going to be an area about this big is what you're going to see. And then if you turn the dial to, if you're looking at midnight, then midnight for these guys over in Australia, in Perth, let's say, they set their dial, and now the stars have rotated around, and now they're over in this area. And then you come back around, and let's say you're over in Africa. And so it'd be like the next day. They can set their planisphere to this window on the next day, or whatever time it is for them at nighttime. And they're over here in South Africa, and they can see these stars. Okay? Because the stars are rotating around, and that is the way it actually works. Isn't that amazing? So simple. It's so simple, and it's so beautiful. It's just the coolest thing ever. And this is the center, this is the North Pole. There's no South Pole. If there was a big ball, a big sphere with a gravitational North Pole, there must be an opposite force on the bottom of the ball, but there's not. because there's only there's a North Pole here, and there's so much to this, and this whole topic is being investigated, and real scientific research is being done and analyzed, and actual analysis and actual critical thinking, creating and understanding what this model really is. But the model we've been presented is an absolute fraud, an absolute lie, and the educational system has gone along with it because they just go along with what they're told. They never think about it, and they're mocked. And you don't have any type of standing, because if you're a professor and you go off and start saying these things, it's just the way that it's been policed. It's self-policing because people are mocked, and that's just the way this whole thing's been perpetuated, and it is genius. So you got to give these guys a little credit, because it's sinister, but it's genius. So, all right, so let's move on.
So, once you've got your planisphere aligned correctly for the date and time, and you can see here it's the 5th of April and more or less 8:30. There's no notch for 8:30, but we're going to eyeball it and it should be fine. Once you've done that, you then need to find the 4 directionals on the planisphere. So you can see here, west, north, south, and east. So carefully keeping the date and time the same alignment, we want to put west to the west. So if you can find the sunset, you put your west towards the sunset, and then you simply hold the planisphere up to the sky, and you'll be able to see what's there. So you'll be able to see, here's Castor and Pollux in Gemini, which we learned about the other day. You've got Orion and the 3 stars of Orion's belt. And here in the Taurus constellation is the Pleiades, which we are looking at tonight.
The Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock App, a dynamic new app to teach family and friends about where they actually live. The sky is a perfect clock. The sun measures the hours and days. The moon measures the weeks and months. The star constellations measure the seasons and years. 12/12 or 24-hour clock face, or go hands-free. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock App with new added features. World Time. See what time it is all around the flat Earth. A true Earth compass that shows true navigation across and around the flat Earth plane. Weather. Tap for detailed local weather information. Know what phase and where the moon is at all times. Watch the sun travel between the tropics for the seasons.
Okay, so it's pretty cool stuff, right? So you've got the stars. If you make a camera and do a time lapse focusing on Polaris, the North Star, all of the stars will create a circular star trail, a perfect circle. Anybody can do it. I've done it myself. It's awesome. So it's just slowly rotating, and you've got that. This is it right here. This is the United Nations, and this shows you that these guys know what's going on, and they're the ones hiding it, and they're the ones that create all this disinformation to mock it and make fun of guys like me. They're just trying to share the truth and just call it what it is, because it's just the goofiest thing ever that we're literally, believing that we're flying 500 miles an hour through outer space. I mean, have you thought about that? How like literally insane that is, that we're told we're flying 500,000 miles an hour right now? I mean, come on. So I'll show you the little animation of the heliocentric model, and then try to imagine the stars, slowly spinning around, and you can balance rocks on one after another, and they the little pebbles, and they never fall over, and you can look at perfectly still oceans and perfectly still water, because the earth does not move. So this is the United Nations. This is the flat earth map, or the true representation of the earth. I don't know if the shorelines are exactly perfect, but this is a representation, and this does work. And obviously it does work because the planisphere works. And And, so we can see in the stars that's exactly how that was created. So you've got the United Nations. This is broken down into 33 segments, which is, representing the Freemasons, 33rd degree Freemasons. Everything is symbolism hidden in plain sight. So here's your symbolism. And actually, just so you know, the outside ring, if you go to the United Nations website of what the symbolism is of their logo, of their flag, this outer ring is the 60th parallel. And the 60th parallel is the beginning of the no-go zone from the Antarctic Treaty. So it shows you right here. This is your jail. Okay, we don't know what's outside here, but this is our jail. This is what we know about, and this is the map we're given. There might be some other stuff out here, places to go. That there might be a breakaway society. There might be other lands. There might be other resources, which makes perfect sense. And don't think it's crazy, because it's absolutely possible that we've been lied to on a massive scale. So I'm just pointing out the obvious now. So the World Health Organization. What was the thing that happened in 2020, 2021, and who ran that program? The World Health Organization. Shenanigan, right? Biggest shenanigan ever. Woke a lot of people up. Well, here it is. Here's your map. This is them. It's the same guys, The United Nations, World Health Organization. These are the guys that run the world. Information that is centralized and worldwide. 6 feet apart. Wear a mask. Worldwide. Everybody. Imagine how the sophistication, a level of coordination to pull that off and to dupe so many people. I mean, I saw coming from day one that it was a joke and that it was a scam. But a lot of people, got a lot of people off guard. But then again, it woke a lot of people up. So check this out. I'm going to show you one other thing. I'm going to show you the heliocentric model. And when you watch this, imagine those stars slowly rotating around, and imagine this in this window, setting your clock possible throughout the year, watching with the way that we're told the heliocentric model flies. So check this out.
Structures like this, and this be possible.
There you go. Pretty amazing, right? The earth does not move. It's beautiful. Embrace it. You know? If you were buying into it, stop buying into it. Stop believing lies. Stop going along with lies just because it's cool or that's what everybody else is doing. You know? It's beautiful, man. See these trees right here? They're not moving. These stars up here are moving clockwise, big circle. And if you look south, it's counterclockwise because you're looking the other direction. So all the stars and the way they twist around the sky can all be answered by perspective. Okay, so I love it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Leave a comment. Enjoy your day. Take care.